Lunch with your fave is brought to you by KFC. Finger licking good. You look like a threat. I'm a threat. Yeah, it's a bad.
And it's a fresh Friday. You know how we do it. We chill with your faves right here on the show. Proudly brought to you by KFC BW. And on today's show, your fave is none other but the founder and the director of Genuine Fitness. This is a 100% citizen-owned company. Yeah, a certified wellness coach with over 10 years experience in the fitness training, as well as the Wellness in Motion director of #YTV Botswana. I'm talking about our very own Agatha Atlholang. Yeah, I feel you. I just set the atmosphere on fire. I feel you. And she's going to be saying hi, and you're going to be asking her more questions on +26739111066. Hi, Agatha.
I think you forgot AKA Boss Lady.
Yeah, I definitely forgot that one. But need to hi, Boss Lady.
Just be easy. I don't bite.
Yeah, panic. On point.
How are you, my darling?
I'm good. Thank you so much for honoring our invite right here on Lunch with the Faves.
I think thank you for inviting me.
Definitely. So for you to engage with us and ask her any other question that you'd like to address on the show, it's +26739111066. WhatsApp call, WhatsApp voice note rather, WhatsApp VN, WhatsApp messages, as well as calling right here on the show. Now, Miss Atlholang, let's jump right into it. Boss Lady. Who is Boss Lady?
Boss Lady is freedom. She is purpose. She is passion, and she's legacy. Yeah, that's how I define myself.
No, I want to make. Let me say, tell us more about yourself. You grew up. Are you freedom? Are you purpose? Born, omang. I love that. I love that about you. When did Boss Lady realize freedom? How did the freedom? How did all this come about?
Well, I think it also shows itself in how I present myself and how I live my life. I'm a very, people think I'm radical, but at my core, I karate ho. You know what I'm saying? And I think maybe that's also why I run my own business. Not to say but it has its disadvantages. I've done corporate for 5 years. And also, I don't like to be around people who undermine my greatness and who undermine what I have to share and who undermine me as a human. That goes for any relationship. I get relationship is and I get relationship is So if you look at the way that I am and I carry myself, I'm a very practical person. I'm a very upfront person. What you see is what you get. I don't hide behind anything. I'm not the person we're not doing that, not today.
How big is it?
Nah. This is it.
Love it. You did touch on Mojolo now that we're here. And you're speaking of not bekezeling. Are you in the department of Mojolo this season? Are you in a relationship?
I don't think what's
Hey, Bana. Hey, I mean, she's not really necessarily demoralizing you. More up your game. It's not like bad. Equipment
I often get asked that question. I'm very single, and I'm single because of what my value system is. You know, a lot of the times we go into relationships, but we don't understand the relationship. You're conscious or self-aware. We relationship. As we're seeing right now, and what's happening with relationships, the divorce rate is high. Things are just not working, and a lot of it stems from us not knowing who we are and not going on our own personal journeys to figure out Agatha, and where am I going. And if you don't know that, what's going to happen? It's going to be very difficult for you to choose the right partner, a partner you are compatible with. We're not looking for a perfect person. A perfect person does not exist. But what we are looking for is for a conscious person. We leng gore o itse go itshwara diphoso ebile le ene o kgona go asseta le go communicate the needs tsa gagwe gore o tlhoka eng ga a tlhokeng. Yes.
Now, as much as the divorce rate is very high, passion killing is also very high. I mean, because in terms of other people that are in relationships and it's not marriage, it's either they break up, which the rate is also very high, and hence the birth of sneaky links, talking stage, situationships. Go to anything but a relationship is successful currently. And you are a life coach.
Is it really successful though? Do you think those relationships are successful?
Well, they don't materialize, so I think that's where we get to measure how they're not successful. However, unlike relationship, good relationship is not like anything at all. Situationship thing, we see it, we can account for that one. So you're a life coach. I'm happy that you touched on it. I wanted you to help us navigate. How do we get to that point, of actually kifrastana? Where you get to ask me how do I find out gore ke mang?
We live in a society where we are told who we are through things. So how le mo Yarona FM yana o bereka yana, you carry this persona ya gore this is you and you identify yourself with this. And then ka moswa ha Yarona FM gore sisters, thank you very much for your services. You kind of get disorientated. You don't even know who you are. You don't even know what's your next move either, or something like that, because at your core you don't really know gore nna ke mang. So the most important thing for us as a society to look into now, because we see how things are going, ke go ruta bana ba rona gore ke bo mang. Yaanong, here's the tricky part. Ha o ka ruta ngwana gore ke mang wena o sa ikitse o le motsadi. You get what I'm saying? And when is teacher and then when as a CEO, so we have a colossal amount of people and it becomes very difficult when they find themselves in situations as the adults. So we have an issue here that people are kind of downplaying, but we have a serious issue, identity crisis mo Botswana. We no longer know who's the parent. We no longer know who's the adult, who's the child. Social media in one pool. And one of the 43-year-old, the 20-year-old. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, what is this?
What's going on?
What's going on? And where did everybody just lose it? And what's happening? But I think social media has a big influence on why we are where we are. It's unearthed a couple of things, okay? It's said to us, listen, and we have found a space and a place for ha re ntse re bua yana ga re itse go buiwa yang ibile go buiwa eng ibile go dirwa jang. The very thing that we thought was going to liberate us has put us into bondage. So we are in trouble right now. There's no control. I've never seen such lawlessness in my life.
All right, before we go deeper on that, you need to engage with us on +26739111066. I'm chilling with your favorite. It's Miss Agatha Atlholang, who's out here to give us the insights. Bona, free counseling, free life coaching. I get how much afford. So, nagini Luhle ke ama afford. Ke muti studio. Right after this, I really wish this was rather the last Friday of 2023 and this chat won't be diluted by any other chat. But it's alright. You can also catch this on the Yarona FM YouTube account. You can catch this person, right? My guest. It has social media platforms as well. And you can just record this conversation. You definitely need to go how that choice. Awa ikitse ra kapelo wena ona le budget ya kwa skontula re ntse re awa ifrostan wa ikutla wa tlhaloganya enna ka ra go jaja but because we're chilling with Agatha Atlholang, who's out here to give us a pinch of what self-worth looks like, self-recognition, self-appreciation, and just being self-aware about yourself. Now we were talking about social media before we took that quick break, and you were mentioning it's a platform where we have to we decided we express timing. How do you guide people through that though?
You can't guide people through anything because social media is not the problem. The problem is the individual. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on radio, but let me put it this way. Porn is not the issue. People have the right to do whatever it is that they want. Do you buy into it or do you stay away from it, depending on your value system? So the internet is not the issue. What the internet is doing is just showing us who people really are. You understand? Yeah. So how ta gone kwa bo bua ka nyalo a gago he monna o rile he mosadi o rile he go ita gore wa khona gore supentsha gore ga o motho o itshetetseng ga wa itshetela ga o motho wa sepe go theledi so ya no wena ga o itse gape dio tse ileng gore re ne re di dirisa bogologolo. One of the reasons why you've got culture is that e go ruta sephiri, and sephiri ga re re le gore people are pretending ra re batho ba tshwantse re ba itse re jarata ngwe le ngwe go na le a way go tshelwang ka teng ibile go na le a way go addresswang dilo ka teng. That's why you've got life coaches. That's why you've got marriage counselors. You're going to come out here, air out your baggage and all sorts of things. People are going to use it against you. So look at what it does to your reputation, because naturally as people, we want to see other people suffer. That's why we use things against people. We've got that, we are inclined to that more, especially harasa ikage. And it's not everybody who ikahang. Now, personally, I just don't get people who have relationship issues who just go off. I mean, I see celebrities doing this, and then I see the young people doing this, and I question it. Do you know that haule motona obo baya your business out there udira bana they're impressionable? Your age mates, the youth of Botswana, because ba tsere motho ha le one ba generalize so re bolela bana or bolela nyalo, an institution e leng gore ra e thoka to be successful, because what marriage does for men is that it guides them, it helps them to focus. What marriage does for women is that it protects them, in that kamoso house it's milarna ga itshwane. Basadi are weaker in the sense that they don't have as much testosterone as men, and that's why Rona at the end of the day feminism ra lapa, we no longer want to work. So this is why we need marriage. There's a lot of reasons why marriage is important. I'm not going to go into that. But God in his infinite wisdom, do you know what I'm saying? So really there's a lot going on there, and it's not the social media that's the problem. My diagnosis is that people show themselves for who they really are more social media. Social media All
right, you also talked about how the divorce rates are very high, and right now you touched on the marriages and all that, right? Now I want us to unpack on entitlement. As much as beginning of year and the past other years, a lot of indoor must.
Yes.
We see men becoming very petty, very entitled, and very controlling.
Yes.
And it's very hard to submit in such an environment. Yes. Do you think it's one of the reasons why now women come back and say, well, I mean, you made me submit to nonsense. Yeah. You ain't coming correct, but you came at the end of the day. Yeah. I now need and expect 1, 2, 3 from you. Do you still see that angle as a woman being entitled?
What do you mean? Women being entitled in what way? Say that again.
That re identify bomme ba malatsing like bo indoda must.
Yes.
Is it because go wrong? Kana genuinely it's because they're deserving of that, taking into consideration what men are bringing to the table, which is nothing.
I think, and I'm going to be, I like us to have a logical, a more sophisticated conversation when it comes to gender issues and gender topics. In that, first of all, men and women must understand that they need each other. Before rago pehela. Secondly, men and women should understand that they do not respect each other because of the gender. They respect each other because ke batho. So setho. I do not respect my husband just because he's a man. I respect him because ke motho, because I first respect myself. I do not respect my wife just because ke mosadi, she bears children. I respect her because ke motho. So there's a bigger angle there. Now, let's put that aside. And then we have the family structure. There's a reason why we've got family. We've got men and women raising bana mo malapeng. When the father is not present in the home, go nna thata tota gore ngwana mosimane a itshetele le ngwana mosetsana gore ba itshetele. The purpose of your father is to encourage you, is to motivate you, is to get you going ha dilo di le thata, because le ene mo jareteng o dira yang ha go le thata go sena madi, he gets up and he goes and he does what he needs to do gore a ska thobogwa ke bana ba ska ba robala ka tala. There is a reason why our men are in the homes. Now, you are looking at Botswana. In 2019, this is statistics Botswana telling us, 83.4% of the births bana ba teng ba tlhokomelwa ke bo mma bone hela bo tata bone ba itatotse. So ya no go mpolella gore ha re na le society e leng gore ga gona borre ba ba thusang bo mme mo malapeng, ro godisa boy child e ntsenya, ro godisa mosimane o e leng gore o ka e mosetsanyana, ro go godisa ngwana mosetsana o ntsenyang o e leng gore she's in her masculine. So the roles have changed. Now you're coming with your masculine energy. He's coming in and he's just like been raised by his mom and he's just like, wait a king. So look at what we're breeding. So now this is where all this stuff comes. Indoda mastija kai gore the men are not showing up. What men? Baba ne marutilwe ke mang bora bone ba le kai.
I love it. I love it.
So you cannot have to have a more, that's why let's have a more sophisticated conversation. It's not dilo how di lebelele mo di livesing o lebella dilo ko moding. Any kind of behavior stems from somewhere. So we are educated Botswana. Let us not have conversations o kare re badisa ko morakeng.
I feel you. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, let's now get into leadership, because I believe when you're talking about, fathers being present, you have like a leadership. Right?
Yes, yes.
And also now talking about a country leadership.
You tell me. You want to tell me? Do you want a guy who just does everything that you want, or do you want a man who can stand up and say, babes, let's not do that, that's not good for us?
Yeah.
What do you want? You want a guy who just comes in, hey,
no,
hey.
Nah, I am with a guy that stands up, even to things that I feel like I want.
Yeah.
Order. He's like, yeah, you might want it, but you don't need it, and you can't do that. It's not good for your brand, for our relationship, for the future, for you, your life as an individual, as compared to like what that. I want. I mean, obviously, if I was to have somebody that I want, who gives me everything that I want, it's like dating another version of myself. Exactly. And I get tired of myself. Now imagine yourself. Yeah, no, I feel you.
Not only that, women are not wired to be attracted long-term to sissies.
Yeah.
They're not like that.
Yeah.
This is a fact, and that's why women are so attracted to bad boys, even though bad boys are not good for them. But they come with a bravado, an ego, le persona, until you get to realize, that's bad boy. But women are like that, and that's why we need the presence of fathers, momalapeng, to bring out the masculinity in our men, so that when they come up and they step up, yeah, women being in leadership, I'm not saying women can't be in leadership, but most of what's going on right now, it's a defense mechanism because our men are not showing up. Yeah, but it's not even like you want to do that. Because, at some point in your life, you get tired. I'm in my 40s now. I'm tired of what's these hippie guys.
I like like how you said it's defense mechanism, right?
is.
I had an experience sometime back in my life, my 29th life, and it was a situation where, your mindset Agatha untirile 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Listen, you are not gonna do 1, 2, 3. That time, listen, you didn't even plan on going 1, 2, 3. It's because I'm
100%.
already with this quote here. I'm gonna defend myself because I let myself down with Agatha. I did a 1, 2, 3. It might be in a relationship. It was family. It was friendship as well. And that grew with me. I personally, that grew with me. And I told myself, I'm gonna show up for my friends. And if they're not gonna show up as sisters, I'm not looking for friendship. I'm looking for sisterhood. But they're just friends. I have sisters. My mother gave me two sisters. Do you understand? So the defense mechanism grows with us, and because we don't know who we are, we don't know how to control that, we don't know how to articulate our feelings, we now bleed everywhere. In the workplace, you are colleagues before you have any other relationship that you guys do it after working hours.
Your parents should be proud of you. I think also as Botswana, we need to learn trauma. A lot of what we're doing is trauma. We're making decisions from a place of trauma. How we're choosing our partners, the kind of jobs we're going into. Here you are, you want to be safe, but like not for me, I'm a very outspoken person. The moment my mother died, guess what I did? And look what I'm doing today, and I'm flourishing, and I'm loving my life. I just came back from Europe. I was in Hungary, I was in Germany, I was in France, I was in the UK. And yes, gal, we travel. So for me, going out there and the kind of job that I do, I'm a content creator as well. You understand? So I cannot be out here creating content and get 100,000 views. Substance. So when you know who you are and you know what you want and you know where you're going and you don't have this trauma in you, you are able to do things. You're not afraid of stuff. I look at young people today and I say, because you'll be on some, okay, pack your bags, go abroad, go to Europe, stay there. Emotionally healthy. You know why? Because we don't have the confidence. We have not socialized our children to be confident human beings. Way back in the day, during my time, 1980, I'm 43 now. My sister is 5 years younger than me. She's in America now. She packed her bags, an exchange student go USA, go Disney. Busy doing all that. That's what we used to do. I'm so shocked. We have done them such an injustice that they do not know that the world is their oyster. These are children who have never been encouraged. And this is the sad thing about my job. Because psychology, the real issues here. How is it that balela gore ga bana ditiro bana ba ga bana ditalente so ga gona motsadi o kileng a nna ha tsa ra ngwana a morare you are talented ga gona school system se se kileng sa ra ngwana se morare se re you can be anything that you want to be ga gona di role model tse ngwana a kgonang go nna ha ta se ga ene a ithuta mo go ene e le gore ngwana yo o godisitswe yang a sa itse go ithuta mo motho e leng gore is killing it. We have a crisis mo Botswana.
A lot. And now that you mentioned that, or more Botswana as a whole, I want to ask you one question. We're going to take a quick break, and from there we're going to answer it. Ko parliament tingana no khatma bale ba bokeletso chelete. One talong. And na ke ha ke metswela ho tswa ho bona ron taletsa ya gore how good. What's your say on that one? Hela re tsabere go to the way imbalance ho gana ha ke bone ka le itholelo wa bona the way imbalance re ka ntwa re ha go oketswa madiko ha go se gudu ko banene re dira ya Yeah, man, we were unpacking and trying to, find a common balance, Yana. Something hella to make it make sense. And you were talking about, you touched on how, absent fathers hostile away that leadership more like being, and we just grow up because we are alive. There's no direction. Now I was talking about the leaders now of the whole country. Literally, it's every year. And here we are. We're talking unemployment. We're talking the youth needing to know and understand that the world is that. How
yeah, 100%. You know what? We've got to wait the lady Pele, Botswana. There's a reason why we've got politicians. There's a reason why we have what we have. But I'm the person who will also say to you as society, as a nation, it's very easy to say but it's very easy to say your leadership is a direct reflection of the people. And Botswana barata go deflecta how barao rialo. Your children are a reflection of you when I'm motsadi mo lapeng. How tshwere thapo ngwana o nna ngwana ela sente ha ile gore ga wa e tshwara ngwana o nna singa o di bile ngwana ha o setso sa morekele sengwe o setsa e fila gore o ka go betsa wa bona gore go na le it's not just one thing. So I think what Botswana should start, like I'm saying, now I'm all about sophisticated conversations. I'm not about blame this, blame. We are in a mess.
Together.
But who got us into this mess? Because you have the right to vote. You have the right to do whatever. That's on you. Choose a young. So for me, that's why I don't have conversations around politics. But that's not to say we should not hold people accountable, leadership accountable. Leadership doesn't understand one thing as well. Legacy. You're going to be howling them for a while. It's not like you're going to be there forever. My father is Atlholang. Botswana is dedicated to my father and my mother. I doubt if I'd ever change my surname, Atlholang. Maybe I will. I don't know. I'm not in the future. But I can tell you this. It's going to take a lot for me to drop that surname because of the legacy behind the Atlholang name. First and foremost, Atlholang ge go athola. Na ke athola batho ibile ka ikathola. Ina lebese romo. Agatha is a good woman. That's what that means. It's Greek. It means somebody o ratelang batho botshelo. That's why I do not mince my words. I tell people how it is. Because at my core, ke ratela batho botshelo. So at the end of the day, I understand that hona le selo gate legacy. Ke tlogelang bana. Ke tlogelang chaba. So lwena ha o le in a platform, o le in a place of influence, o thopiwa ke batho. Do you even have a plan ya gore how setso tswa gono ho o batla gore batho ba go lebeyang? You have these instances. I've seen this happen broad daylight. O ta ithala ile gore motho ine ile CEO, motho ine ile mo politiki ha se tsa tswa gona gompieno re mmona mo strate o kae ga ise kwa ba nne motho le hela o tsana mo ba inkeng batho don't no longer give you that respect. Akere bana ba go inela because you are in a certain place. But we are looking at setho sa motho. When as an individual, how in a place of leadership, what does leadership mean to you? Does it mean does it mean there's a scripture in the Bible that says the generations se di kotase. So ha ile gore nna ga ke dire dilo gompieno sente ka mso gore le ngwana ke hela a khonne go nna bothale a itirela a nna le madi ra gwa le godu. Look at how that mars the child. So how when at that moment oshapo you've got no issue, but look at what it's going to do to bana. So how sena se gakuludi tsa ga sa bereki. And this is going to affect your children's children. What are you thinking? it's like these issues where motho reipa motho, and then they don't get convicted. We pull some strings here and there, and and all of that. We know in the village. We know.
What you did.
And that child was not even born at that time. So as an adult, how say conscious? This is why leadership is bana le malwapa a itshetetseng, because how le monna o ta khona go rekegela bana le mosadi, how le mosadi o ta khona go rekegela monna le bana. So potso ya me nna to everybody go re di two, wena o le mothopi o ikagile go le kae go nna conscious enough to understand what it is you should be looking for in leadership. Wena ka wena you don't know, wena ha o sna no thopiwa. Why are you there? What are you leaving behind? So these are questions.
Powerful.
Exactly. So those are questions you must be. Don't just come here and say, no, I want to be a president. No, I want to be a politician. No, I want to be a CEO. That thing comes with a lot of consciousness, awareness, a lot of personally, so that you can do for the people and the people who have entrusted you. The resources, and to just say the politicians the issue. The moment you point, this is 1, 2, 3 fingers pointing right back at me, which means this analogy shows you I have to work on myself more
as well.
More because it's 3 fingers. It's 3 fingers.
I get you.
It's insinuating that I have to work on myself more. It's coming to me 3 times. The same anger.
I love it. Hey?
It's called wisdom, my girl. At 43, we have a
WhatsApp text from Monte Carlo. I have learned a lot from her. All I can say is keep walking tall. And we also have another one from Lucky. He says, Luhle, I love what your guest is bringing to the table today. It pains me to hear the truth because I grew up without a fatherly love, and only knew my mother's love. Now there are things I don't know how to tackle them. Even today in my 40s, I'm still learning today to be a better brother, a better uncle, a better father, and a leader in the society.
And that's so painful. That is, last time I checked, we've got like 4,000 men or whatever. Luckily for him at 40, he's not a statistic because most of the men babakwa, how can that is wasted human life. And also remember, when men come out of jail, I've coached ex-convicts. It's not like they're just going to waltz back into society. These people are going to have to really do the work, and it's very difficult for them into society. That's why banna second-time offenders, because it's easier than it is outside. So when Agatha has these conversations and people start acting brand new, you know why? The 4 walls
Powerful.
And as a life coach, that's what I do. I've got different people coming to me with different stories, and I try to bring them out there to say, hey,
I like that you said that, because I don't know if people are aware of that. Besides just you being a life coach, you're a direct the hell on how to live as an individual. You also touch a lot about sex in relation to saving marriages and saving relationships, right? And I was privileged enough to attend one of your events. Although I was also working, I enjoyed it. Hey?
What did you enjoy about it? Tell me.
A lot of people, for starters, the name of the event was called Just Sex.
Yes.
And, probably brought to you by GX. And a lot of people were coming with their partners, and these are married people,
Yeah.
And when it comes to sex, it's a very sensitive thing. You know how that husband event thing, but people were really feeling safe enough to say, no, listen, can men understand that as women, these are how our hormones are coming up, There was a gent that was also presenting and sharing the biology of the body and every single thing.
Yes.
But you were also touching more on the psychological part. Okay, but this is how it should be for two people to come together and actually make this sex thing happen. I know, great, before we could get into that, growing up, I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And that season where you're trying to find out what you want to be in when you grow up. Yeah. And my parents would ask me, and I would say, I want to be a sexologist. My mom came and like, I tell you, what do you want to know? And I'm like, no. So
have you run out of options?
That was her. She's like, you can be anything. Anything in this world. You want to go and say what's up. And this was the birth of that, right? I didn't know what a sexologist was until I read Cosmopolitan and Men's Health.
Yes.
This was why I was reading them. I was 15. Yeah. And I said, when I turn 21 or 18, I want to lose my virginity and I want to understand what sex is. Yeah. I don't want people touching my body and my emotions are let down and I don't feel you emotionally. No, let me read Cosmopolitan about Men's Health and Women's Health. So every time it says Agatha the sexologist, I'm like, oh, I want to give people these advices, but I can't if I'm not a sexologist. You understand? Yes. So you touched a lot on that, and it really unpacked a lot of feelings. When I got home, I'm like, men's, you should have attended that event. Tell me what this gent said, or I event. I'm like, you knew about it? You didn't buy ticket.
And Tata, we even had, the organizers had people asking, will there be demonstrations? I was like, yes, Ruka. I was just like, we're talking. We claim to be aware when we're not. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for me, as a life coach, when I was there, I was invited to come and talk about relationships. And I spoke mostly on intimacy and what intimacy is and what intimacy is not. Because people think intimacy is sex. Intimacy goes way beyond sex. Intimacy is what both of you have that cushions you. And that is what you hold on to. That's the only thing that holds your marriage together, not sex. You're going to get older. Gravity is going to do its thing. Our boobies are going to sag. We're going to put on weight. As a man,
menopause is going to happen.
It's going to happen. As a man, you might be out at, God forbid, and then you're paralyzed, waist down. So should I then divorce my husband? Should I then leave my wife? So what is holding us together? What will make you say no to the 14? Le agileng yeo yang. Ha monna o mong ka taka madi. Abata rexen tona ba se ya go check. Our check ga kana wa nna ha so bore. You know what? This relationship eats hetetse. We are bigger than just money and then just sex. Hey, because I really challenge, there's a lot of say, manyalo, atubiwa ke gore ga gona madi, ga gona morobalo. I challenge that. And I challenge it because ke feel gore those are things that we need in relationships, but those are not grounds for divorce. You understand? Yeah. There's something bigger. If you don't create the intimacy and build the intimacy different ways. There's physical intimacy, there's emotional intimacy, there is experiential intimacy. So if you're not building these different areas, emotional, each other, how is your marriage going to survive? Can
I ask you something? Have you ever been in a courtship relationship?
In a what?
Courtship relationship. No sex before marriage or not, just no sex.
I've been, and this is what I love about our youth. Way back in the day, we had those relationships, and those relationships were more loving and more, you felt like you were with Moto. Today, within a day, I'm like, hey, le fast yambana ikelo. Na wana lima. People don't take each other on dates. People are not trying to figure out who the other person is. And then comes jiki we are expecting. And I'm like, can't the relationship is a home period? Can't the fast I just do fast nights. Just relax one man. But you know what? Let me ask you this question, and I think it's a question that needs to be answered, and it's a question that needs to be asked often. I mean, I don't understand this thing. I don't understand where that stems from. I don't know. I don't know if your age mates think Ngwana is just a cute little baby dolo muchara mapondo.
In my generation, I don't even think it's our problem really banana. I think it's our parents, right? I'm 29.
Yeah.
And believe me, every single time I go to the village, every single time is onna longwana lane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I look at my aunts and I'm like, have you seen me? Not only my height, but have you seen me? Have you seen my way of thinking? You understand? But our society has given us an atmosphere where it's like timeline. Yes, I know biologically, the timeline,
biologically, yes.
You know, but at the same time, they're not nourishing anything else beside Nalebana. I remember when I graduated, one of my mom's colleagues said, oh, he's just school ya no wana ka go batla we thaga nonne le bana ba gole ba te ba go thokomela a nna ne ke lebega ke thokomela mama. You understand? So I think it's you le batsadi ba rona that are setting that atmosphere. Le dirile cloud ene sampula ya nna le ngwana monno le wena le tswa khakala le mo relationship mo tsholele ngwana ga gona atmosphere ye reng but my children, you've been dating for a long time, now get married. Ga gona epering ngwana ka you just graduated, now go fend, even if it's not a corporate job here we it's in school dira madinyana o save ha go ka diragala gore o nyalwe o nne le ngwana o kgone go godisa ngwana gago. That's why right now ha go ya khotera go samansa di baby date re tsamaya le lona le bo mmarone ke gone ko le machanteng and you're the loudest people because you are advocating for the atmosphere you set up. Rona that another generation ya my bad we want to live large, we want to travel, we want to do when the water's so blue. The water is so blue. And you give us the psychology that family, but we've missed marriage, we've missed mahadi. That's why men have 5 kids and with 5 different women. Because 5 kids are part and parcel yani.
Do you know how it warms my heart to hear ngwana a bua yaka o bua yana? Because it shows me that there's hope. So if I hear what you're saying, basically what you're saying is the older generation is still stuck.
Yeah.
And them being stuck is not the issue because to promote bana le lwapa is a good thing. Mathata ke gore ga ba lemoge gore dilo di changeile batho ga ba tshwane. A 25-year-old o na le ngwana at that time le yone maturity ya gagwe. Una ga tshwanela a 25-year-old wa gompieno. At 25 my mother was married. She was starting with the first child.
You know,
so I think what we have a problem with here, and then also Lona, your issue is that's why let's say because you still have to be able to stand up for yourself. You've got to understand as an individual, as Monana. Right. Your parents are not there to live your life for you because your parents at some point are going to leave the earth and go to their maker, as both my parents have done. The job of a parent is not to live through the child. The job of a parent is to guide the child, is to watch the child and to fuel the self-esteem of the child, so that ngwana ha motsadi a seyo ngwana can fend for themselves at tsena mo lahatseng dikgoro di mulele because of setho sa ngwana bothale ja ngwana le go itshetela ga ngwana. That's your job as a parent. It's not to dictate gore ngwana ga go nyarwa leng o dira eng o a reng o ka bua wa re kana mme nako ntse ya tshang ngwana ka o rela gore ga o ise o bone sengwenyana go gongwenyana, and lovingly so. But at the end of the day, the child is the one o ileng gore o dira di decision, because at the end of the day, wrong or right, we do not grow without the mistake. The 18-year-old you is very different to the 22-year-old you, very different to the 29-year-old you, which is going to be different to the 30-year-old you. So, ngwana una le their own journey. God has just given you that prestige ya gore ngwana yo o tsile through wena le monna gago. O go nela tshono ya gore o age sengwe o togele your own legacy through ngwana yo. How that legacy comes about is entirely dependent on ngwana le modimo le ditalente tse modimo a di neetseng ngwana. That's why we take children to church, so that they can have a relationship with their maker and discover themselves.
I love that. Now, without wasting any of your further time, because busy, booked and busy. It's a boss lady season, man. Where can people find you? You know, somebody who just tuned in for the first time. Already, mudumo wa Facebook, or media claim who is hot. You know, somebody tuned in for the first time and they're enjoying this chat. Where can they reach you? Where can they find you?
Our YouTube channel. You can go to YTV Botswana, the podcast. Those of you who are trying to discover yourself, we are shooting content in their own spaces and maybe find clarity and maybe just by Ikache there. So check out our YouTube channel, YTV Botswana, the podcast. Renali YTV Botswana on Facebook also. I don't have a personal page anymore. Yeah, I think I've also grown from that, and I think I've been able to bring back my brand to a place. Yes, you have those, they have their issues, but it's fine, it's their right.
Yeah.
And they're still unconscious, so they will be conscious at some point, we pray. But at the end of the day, Instagram, I don't have a personal account either. So it's just my business accounts. YTV Botswana is all about helping you to become the best version of yourself. So go YouTube, we've got content. And by the way, you know, podcasts are great, but you must also understand, Andrew Tate, there are things but you also live in a community. It's got a culture, and there's a way we do things. There's a way that they do things. So the reason why is that pick and choose
Alrighty, thank you so much, Ms. Atlholang. Let's do this again in future. Yes. Genuinely enjoyed having your presence right here in the studio.
And
thank you so much.
You're so smart. I just want to give a shout out to your parents. They did a good job, man.
Thank you so much.
You're 29, you got no kids?
Nah. Hey. I am planning to. And there you have it, Mwanamai. This is how we wrap up today's cool, fun chat, proudly brought to you by KFC BW. This is Lunch with Your Faves. And do follow and engage with your fave on the social media platforms as she stated. But other than that, keep it locked and rock with me right here on Yarona FM. This is The Good Life.
Like a threat.
I'm a threat. Yeah, it's a bed. Yeah.
Lunch with Your Fave is brought to you by KFC. Finger licking good.